All right, I'll call to order the meeting of the Antioch Unified School District Board of Education. Maya, can you establish the quorum?
Trustee Hack,
I'm here.
Trustee Lathan,
Here.
Trustee Lewis, Vice President Rocha,
Here.
President Hernandez.
Here. All right, we'll now move into closed session where we'll be looking at items 2A and 2B. We'll return for open session at 7 p.m. Right, I'll recall us to open session at 7:03. Mike, can you reestablish the quorum?
Trustee Hack,
I'm here.
Trustee Lathan,
Here.
Trustee Lewis,
Present.
Vice President Rocha,
Here.
President Hernandez.
Here. Moving on to 3B, reports from closed session. The board has selected Dr. Robert Martinez to serve as the acting superintendent on a 3-2 vote. Moving on to 3C, flag salute. Trustee Hack, do you want to lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to item 3D, approval of minutes for the regular Board of Education meeting, March 13th. Unless there's any discussion or amendments to the minutes, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of March 13th, 2024. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. And the minutes pass. Moving on to 4A, we have a lot of wonderful students from Dozer Libby Medical High School here, looking great in their HOSA blues that we're here to recognize. And I'll turn it over to staff, and I know we have some guests.
So I believe we have members of the East Bay Regional Parks District in partnership with the American Red Cross here to bestow these recognitions.
It's all right. Is that working? All right. All right. Yeah. All right. Board members, my name is Pete DeQuincy. I'm the Lifeguard Service Manager for East Bay Regional Park District. This meeting has come about after 18 months of a long fruition, working with Antioch Unified School District, collaborating with all of the high schools, and in particular tonight, Dozer Libby Medical High School. We decided, or I should say they decided specifically, that they wanted to get certified as instructors and make a step forward in certifying the student body at Dozer Libby Medical High. What was fascinating about this is that the students took on something that has never been done in the nation, where students became instructors and certified their peers. There was a lot of hard work. They did a tremendous amount of effort in all of this, and we wanted to recognize them. Multiple certifications each of the students did here specifically at Dozer Libby, and with their efforts, they certified 452 student members at their high school. All right. I'm going to pass to a student body specifically so they can talk about this.
Absolutely.
Come forward. I'm going to step away.
He's tall. Okay. Good evening, board members. My name is Brianna Fumar, and I'm here joined today by Anaya Willis. We are proudly here to represent Dozier Libby Medical High School's HOSA 2023 to 2024 chapter and the new public health class. As members of HOSA this past year, we have had so many opportunities thanks to our partnership with East Bay Regional Parks. And we started the school year off by getting certified in BLS and CPR for all the students in our public health class. And then as BLS and CPR instructors ourselves, we then went on to certify our student body. We have also recently begun hosting CPR instructor training classes for the Deer Valley and Antioch High School students and staff. Additionally, this past April, we got to go down to Anaheim and attend the HOSA SLC with 27 of our HOSA members. I will now pass it on to Anaya to have her share about her experience as a CPR instructor.
Hello, board members. It is an honor here today to be speaking to you about what we have done as HOSA to better our community at Antioch. So this year, my peers and I, we were given such a great opportunity to be certified as BLS instructors and go around and certify the whole school. And not only are we bettering our community by having people out there who know how to save lives in the case of an emergency, but us ourselves are growing personally. So for me, this has really been a lot of personal growth, and I can say this year, I'm a junior at Dozier Libby. This has really been like one of the times I've grown the most as a person. It's put me in a leadership position, and I've learned how to really challenge myself. A couple years ago, I would have never imagined I would be here speaking in front of all of you, yet alone yelling at a group of kids to do CPR. But here I am putting myself in that position voluntarily. So I'm really proud of myself and the work that all of these kids have done. We've all grown so much, and this class has become like a little family to me. I love them all so much. And not only that, I just want to say a big thank you to Pete, because throughout all of this, he's been like such a mentor, and he's like also a part of our family too. And I don't know if this has really like shaped me as a person, and it's just so amazing that a small school like Dozier Libby can go out and do something so big.
There's more. Putting on these classes has been completely a team effort. We couldn't have done it without all our helps, keeping each other accountable and encouraging each other to be the best versions of ourselves. And we have just I've seen so much growth as a senior. I got to watch our underclassmen step up, take responsibilities, and I'm just so proud of them all. And I'm excited to see where our public health class goes next. We are looking forward to be teaching more CPR classes and year 2 of public health. Thank you.
Hello, board and everybody. I am so happy to be here. My name is Raphael Xavier, and I'm the NorCal representative with the American Red Cross, specifically our training services division. So I oversee a lot of the training curriculum. I met Pete earlier this year, and I met the staff, the school, the students earlier this year, and it's just been a fantastic journey. So I brought some awards just as a thank you on behalf of the Red Cross, specifically. This is just not something that happens, to have the students train, become instructors. It's not easy. All of us know, we've all been through training. You have to be dedicated. You have to stay on point. There's so many things to remember, the skills to practice, and to see you become instructors and then train and teach the rest of the students in your school is just incredible. And it's not something that happens. This might be one of the only cases where students are teaching students in the country. So super amazing. I'll keep it short and sweet at that. So I want to present a certificate of appreciation to Dozier Libby Medical High School. This is a thank you. And I wanted to present one to the Antioch Unified School District for the support and for backing this program up. And then finally, I brought one for Pete's team as well, East Bay Regional Park District.
And just need to close up. Regional Parks actually did too. We have an merit award specifically for Antioch Unified School District for their participation. All of these students here got certified multiple times so that they could provide that. They went through the course, they went through an instructor course, they went through a bridge, they went through multiple courses just so that they could provide for their student body. So this is a merit award for Antioch Unified School District. We have one also for Dozier Libby Medical High School as well. We also have one for Brittany Karki for all her hard work in supporting them. And if I may, I just want to read all the students that participated. They'll be receiving an award, but I know it's not here, it's in the car, and we'll do it outside so your meeting can go. But I'd like to just say their names. Abbas Abajani, Mina Abajani, Vanessa Avalos, Don Ray Baladad, Melanie Barbara, Alexandra Becerra, Jewel Bosalpa, Mariana Del Vega Alcazar, Alina Dong, Bethany Fumar, Brianna Fumar, Brenda Galindo Felix, Ali Gumalo, Brittany Gutierrez, Shauna Hermano, Zoe Ho, Stanislaus Ivanenko, Ashina Kumar, Iman Lanval, Maritza Montano Chicas, Ijama Opara, Eric Sependon, John Ross Reyes, Ariel Shackelford, Calvin Tam, Ashley Tyndall Washington, Anaya Willis, and Annalise Bell. And they did all tremendous work. Please give them a round. And with that, thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm wondering if my trustees have any comments they'd like to share, and we can start with Trustee Lewis.
So first of all, wow. Thank you for, your dedication. As when you get old like me and you start to get a little snow in your beard, it's all snow, trust me. We kind of forget the leadership that happens with our young people. And so thank you for being a reminder for all of us, of what the gifts that you guys bring. So the future looks bright, and obviously we'll be saved if we go swimming or anything like that. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, Vice President Rocha.
I think I could use that first aid and life-saving. I haven't done it in a while, so I think you should use us all here to be trained. But anyway, I was there yesterday, and some of you were receiving awards for your scholarships, and it was a blessing, and you guys are really up there. This is a tribute to us. I mean, what you've done is brought attention to our school district on a mighty plus. And that's very favorable, because sometimes people don't look at what the product is. They always look at the negative. But look at the youth and the amount of abilities that you've done, and you're shining stars. That's what I told you yesterday. You are shining stars. Thank you very much.
Trustee Lathan.
Congratulations, amazing work. You all are, it just makes me happy to know that we have a generation of folks, of young people who will, really be able to be doctors and nurses and anything you desire to be. So thank you. Also want to thank Principal Karen Clark. When I first met her over a year ago, she told me this was part of her vision. And while the students did all the hard work, and the staff too at Dozier Libby, and also the support, this can't happen without strong leadership. So thank you, Ms. Clark, for your work.
Trustee Hack.
What can I say other than wow and ditto? Dozier Libby has had a reputation from day one of being a very exceptional school. And all the kids who've gone through it have proven that is accurate. And this group sitting here just says, yes, you got it together and you know what you're doing, and you're smiling and you're helping other people. So that's wow. Good for you. And good for us.
It's really inspiring to see HOSA students doing things so far beyond what I could have ever imagined. For those of you who don't know, I was very involved in HOSA when I was a student in the school district, serving both as the chapter president, the state president, the international president for HOSA when I was a student at Dozier Libby Medical High School. And I'm just so inspired by all the work that you all are doing and how far you've driven this organization so much than I could have ever imagined. You should be so proud of yourselves for not only what you've done to develop your own skills, but what you're doing to develop other skills, because that's really what's at the heart of, I think, the entire healthcare profession is how do we help and heal others and spread that message, and you guys are clearly demonstrating that. So congratulations for all the work you've done. And then I'll ask if everyone can stay as we also recognize the high school student representatives, and then I'll ask for a recess from my board and allow everyone to kind of disperse out and be able to take those pictures that you all mentioned, but it would be great to have everyone still here for the recognition of our high school student representatives. So we'll move on to that item then, our recognition of high school student representatives.
All right, good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure of recognizing all of our student representatives that have come before the board, sat as a part of the board, and participated. It was great to have them back after COVID, and so I would like to try to read their names. We've been practicing. We'll see how we do. Lindsay, you can help me. So the first one we have is Natalia Mariquin. Chima McPan Oluo. Thank you, Chima. Jamali Bothi. You're good. Amanda Rogers. Fafita Grew. I'm going to see. Teresa Buen Consejo. Corey Hawkins. Brianna Fumar. Iman Lanval. And last but not least, Matilda McCarthy.
Great. Any additional comments from trustees? All right. Well, I will then, if it's have consensus of the board, do a 5-minute recess and return at 7:25. Do I see one more head nod? Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. So we'll return at 7:25. All right, I'll call the meeting back to order at 7:25. Ms. Bellis, can you reestablish the quorum?
Trustee Hack,
I'm here.
Trustee Lathan,
Here.
Trustee Lewis,
Present.
Vice President Rocha,
Here.
President Hernandez.
Here. All right, moving along, we are on item 5, superintendent reports. I will turn it over to Dr. Martinez.
Thank you, Board President Hernandez. First off, let me just say thank you to the board for the trust that you've placed in me to serve as the acting superintendent during Superintendent Anella's absence. I will hold that responsibility with great care, compassion, and commitment for all of our students, staff, families, and community. A part of the report tonight, I just want to let you know that we have 9 more days left in this school year, and those are going to be a busy 9 days. Last week, the Antioch Education Association, Antioch Management Association, and California Schools Employee Association held their annual retirement dinner. The district did provide a commemorative award to each retiree, recognizing their years of service in the district. There have been a number of scholarship activities across the district for our graduating seniors over the last few weeks. And again, simply fantastic accomplishments as we've seen some here tonight. And that's just amazing endeavors occurring across all of our schools. There was the 50th anniversary celebration for Mission Elementary School that occurred as well. We know graduation ceremonies begin tomorrow, even though there's 2 weeks to go, and will continue with the culmination, of course, of Deer Valley and Antioch High Schools on Friday, June 7th, 2024. We have 2 items that we want to show you tonight. One happens to be our Dallas Ranch Middle School library, which is now transformed into a learning commons. We know that this had been a vision of our principal there, Ms. Spires, and again for our schools in general to help adjust our old-time libraries, sorry, but sometimes we think of the shush and the don't talk and the be very quiet, into places where our students can gather. There's functional mobility of the furniture. You can move these things around to create different atmospheres for the students in this now school. Go on to the next one, Chris. And just to give you another glimpse. Next picture. Or is there another picture? Oh, in the slide, sorry, in the slide deck? Wasn't there? Oh, okay. Well, in addition to our Dallas Ranch School, where again, we've had the success here, we're going to be approaching a couple of our other schools, and I believe Mission and Fremont are the 2 schools.
Sure.
So we're going to be looking to get those going over the next couple of times. Maybe we can cue that up or not. It worked in rehearsal. But we'll have those pictures for everybody and a little bit more information. Let's go ahead and go to the next video if we can. We know that the Deer Valley High School football field is in, and this is a very positive news story we wanted to share with you from our KTVU. And go ahead and let's run that video.
Imagine playing on something like this to this, a brand new football field at Deer Valley High School.
I don't know if you've seen it, but it was like potholes, a lot of wet spots. Yeah, it was bad.
But now it's finally over because Deer Valley High School has a turf football field.
Deer Valley was the last team in the Bay Valley Athletic League to get renovations done to their stadium. Other than the field, they'll get a new scoreboard, sound system, and better Wi-Fi. This project began last year in November, and it cost more than $1 million due to the drainage in the field. So it affected the Wolverines' senior class last year.
We weren't allowed to play any home games here last year. So our seniors didn't get a senior night on this home field. They didn't get a homecoming.
Matt Mills has been at the helm for Deer Valley's football program for the past 2 seasons.
Joy, enthusiasm, excitement.
Coach Mills was 0-10 his first season and 4-6 in his second. He was the
Well,
Doesn't want to do it.
good old technology.
He was the.
Well, it's an amazing story, nonetheless. They go on to basically share some of the amazing NFL football players that have come out of our high school and have played on, again, other facilities, but really the excitement that our coach brings and the students, just to see them now getting ready for next year, the excitement in their voices, it's another just hugely positive activity for us. I'll conclude the report tonight so we can move on with the meeting. Just sharing a little bit about having the ability to participate in our NCUST district-wide meetings last week and this week. Again, there'll be more conversation about that, but just from my personal perspective, again, just an amazing opportunity that the district has right now to really re-enter a process of looking at how we're doing at our schools with a collective group of students, parents, our union associations, administrators. And again, as you'll find out, our schools are each going through a very dedicated process, and the engagement of conversations is beyond anything I've ever seen right now, which is then just truly inspiring. So again, thank you for giving me the time and the trust, and we'll move on with the meeting. Thank you so much.
Moving on to 6 school reports, we have none. 7 public comments. Item A, individuals to address the board regarding items not on the agenda from the public. First, we have Patricia Granados.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so we have an interim. My name is Patricia Granados. Thank you for being here and leading our community for our children. I'm not happy with the outcome of our current, I guess, replacement of superintendent in the meantime. I think for the best interest of our school, because of the organized supremacism and organized misuse of funds, I believe that we should have had somebody from outside, somebody not within the school district, somebody that doesn't oversee HR, because I feel like it's been a Mickey Mouse show of standards for safety and for just overall health and wealth, safety for our staff, but also for our children. And so if that could be an alternate thing in the future, I would love for somebody to be outside of our district to be here. Also, can we get some federal oversight? Like, I don't know what happened to the audit. I don't know if there's a committee for the outcomes of the audit that occurred. I would like to be part of that or watch or know what were the results. Otherwise, we need federal oversight, because otherwise you have folks that are still here that misused funds. And if the community has any questions, I want to share with you all. You can scan this, and you can see additional links to the organized Back the Blue clan. Mary Rocha, Dr. Clyde, you were in that group. There was a Back the Blue Facebook page. And in that page, there was organized propaganda using LCAP funds to pay Mike Burkholder, who recently validated and defended his buddy Ken Turnage, who openly advocated for burying the body of our district attorney in a landfill. How is he still overseeing anything that's going on in our district? So I would like to invite if anyone has ever felt racism in the community or have felt victim of the system here, I want you to scan this QR code, and you'll learn a little bit about Malad Baldwin. He was terrorized by the Antioch police here for many years until he tried to take his life. There's still not been justice for the family, but if you scroll down, you'll learn a little bit about him. And then you'll see the archive of information of the Back the Blue folks, the misuse funds, the LCAP funds, Kenneth Turnage threatening Dinah Becton. So you just got to scroll through the slides and click the link. So if there's anybody that would like a copy of this, please raise your hand. Would you like one? They're your friends also. Would you like a copy? Okay, that's what I thought. Information is key, knowledge is power, and in order for us to activate and hold people accountable, we need to show up and know about the abuse of power in our systems, in our community today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Justin Fioela.
Good afternoon. My name is Justin Favela. I am the education coordinator for the Contra Costa Water District. So thank you to the board for letting me speak to you briefly and to the Antioch School District. So as a former teacher, I have some notes. I'm going to keep myself on track because I tend to get passionate. So now being there as ed coordinator for several years, I've realized that people have a good idea of the Contra Costa Water District and that we serve 500,000 people all up and down the Highway 4 corridor into Clayton, either directly into homes or through partnerships like through the city of Antioch, right, where we produce raw water to Antioch and they treat it. And I've been so busy updating all these programs so that they meet state standards, bringing technology into it, making sure there's equity, career readiness, and workforce development. That I've started to come out of this and realize, wait a minute, a lot of people don't really know what we do, and they don't know that we reach 30,000 kids every year through these free programs. And so that's why I'm here to, one, thank Antioch Unified for using our programs. We've worked with you for over 2 decades, and this year we've reached about 3,300 students through 72 programs with you, with your school, with the school district. So thank you for utilizing our programs. The focus of our programs predominantly is 3 through 5th graders. We do field trips out to Los Vaqueros, our reservoir. It's not too far from here, as well as field trips to the water treatment plants. We come into the classroom. We have school-wide assemblies. We also have a pilot high school program, really showing students, getting them in front of different people at the water district so they can see that the career path, often from where they sit to where we all are, is not linear. There's ups and downs, and you're going to crash and burn, and failure is part of success, and seeing that there's all different forms of success. And also another program that's near and dear to my heart, I can't believe we do it, it's the Delta Discovery Voyage. So we put students on a boat, they go out into their source water, and they get to see where their water comes from, and the many animals and people that call it home. So some of the focuses real quick. We focus on our source water. We want kids to understand that water is not an endless commodity. It's something that, we should really value. And so that's, through good stewardship, and also with the younger kids, teaching them cool things about water, like all the water on earth, it's all that's ever been created. We can't create more. Or getting kids to understand that the water we're drinking, a dinosaur likely drank that millions of years ago. And also really connecting kids and their careers so they understand how what they're learning in class will connect to jobs, all kinds of different jobs, all different sorts of, some that need a degree, some that don't at all. And lastly, 2 things I'm really proud of, removing obstacles to get kids out to these field trips. So we have bus reimbursements. I just got more budget from my board, so I can now honor Title I schools can get up to $600, up from the standard $350. And lastly, I have capacity for more. So I would love to do more programs, more pilots. So that's why I'm here. If you don't mind, I'd love to leave just some literature on how to get a hold of me. And thank you.
Thank you.
Can I respond to him? Just really quickly.
Sure.
So I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to connect with Dr. Wisely.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Next, we have Velma Wilson.
Good evening, board trustees and the community, parents, families. First, I come with a heavy heart, and I want to start with my public comments to announce the passing of Willie Mims.
Yeah.
Willie Mims was a true advocate for education. He was a driving force. I will miss Willie. I loved him so much. So many people don't realize the relationship me and Willie shared. The mentorship, the reprimands, the championing of all of the work for all of our students, families, holding the school boards, administrative staff accountable. He fought a good fight. And one of the messaging that I know he would want me to say, the fight is not over until we recognize, until we all take accountability and champion this wonderful world of public education. So I ask that you as the board will close your meeting tonight in honor for one of the most boldest, fiercest, not afraid to speak up, in honor of Willie James Mims. His family is currently planning his services, which will be in approximately 2 weeks, and I will make sure that each of you will know when those services are. Excuse me for being on crutches, because it is time to have a revision to this artificial leg of mine. It popped out of place during a presentation, again, on behalf of students and families. I hope that we all can celebrate the amazing accomplishments, because we see that learning is happening in AUSD. Thank you to all of you, the board, for serving. And trust and believe your service does not go unnoticed. Thank you to every district staff, teacher, and educator for all that you do in and out of the classroom, even when you don't feel appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Yanin Solis. Y también veo aquí que tienen Raúl Solis. ¿Van a hablar juntos?
Por si se nos acaba el tiempo.
Sí, sí, no se preocupe.
So, él me va a traducir porque no tienen traducidor, ¿verdad?
Sí, está bien.
So,
Wait, all right, actually, do we have anyone to translate? No. Then okay, then he'll be translating.
sí. So, en abril 25 de este año,
April 25th of this year,
y abril 23,
April 23rd,
abril 24,
April 24th,
abril 30.
April 30th.
Yo llevé a mi hijo Christopher Solís
We took our son Christopher Solis
para ser evaluado por el distrito de Enya.
to be evaluated by the NX School District.
El día abril 25 hubo una discusión en el parqueadero de unas personas adultas.
On April 25th, when she took our son to be evaluated, there was a discussion in the parking lot by some parents, I guess, of the school.
Nosotros teníamos que pasar cerca de esas personas porque mi carro estaba parqueado ahí.
We had to walk through them because we were parked right there.
La tercera vez que fue en abril 24, yo llevé a mi hijo a la escuela Black Diamond para que fuera evaluado y mi hijo no quiso bajar del carro.
Third time we took him to Black Diamond School to be evaluated, and our son didn't want to get off the car. He was scared.
Por la psicóloga Jasmine
The school psychologist, Jasmine
Altman.
Altman.
Después me hicieron llevar a Christopher en abril 30 a Jack London a mi hijo.
Then we took him back to Jack London School on April 30th.
Ujú. Mi hijo no se quiso bajar del carro.
Again, our son did not want to get off the car.
Y la psicóloga me preguntó por qué mi hijo no se quería bajar del carro.
So the school psych asked my wife, how come he doesn't want to get off the car?
Yo le pregunté a mi hijo, ¿por qué no te quieres bajar del carro? Y mi hijo me dijo, porque tengo miedo que las señoras griten otra vez.
So my wife asked our son, Christopher, why don't you want to get off the car? And his response was, because I'm scared of the ladies that were screaming last time.
La psicóloga, en vez de hacer algo, se empezó a reír.
This school psychologist, instead of doing anything or telling us anything, she just laughed about it.
So, el niño tiene 5 años.
Our son is 5 years old.
Después yo en mayo 8 tuve una IEP.
On May 8th, we had an IEP meeting.
Ella dijo, porque yo cada IEP que tengo de mis 2 hijos, como pueden ver aquí tengo otro niño, que es Alexander, grabo mis IEPs.
We always record our IEPs with the school district.
¿Qué fue lo que pasó? Que la señora dijo que yo no estaba disponible para llevar a mi hijo a las evaluaciones.
And what Jasmine said at the IEP when we held our IEPs, she said that we weren't available to take our son to the school to get evaluated.
Pero ella no contaba que mi carro estaba grabando todo lo que estaba diciendo y la estaba grabando a ella.
So our car records all the video and conversations around it, so she didn't know that she was being recorded.
So, cuando yo le dije a ella, yo sí lo traje.
And it's my understanding that when there's translations, people get double time. So if you could add 3 more minutes. Yeah.
Gracias. Entonces, cuando yo le dije a la señora Jasmine, mi carro la estaba grabando. Yo sí fui responsable. Yo traje a mi hijo cuando ustedes, el distrito, me lo pidieron.
So she said that we weren't available to take our son to the evaluation, and my wife even told her, like, we were responsible parents. We did bring him to get evaluated, but he didn't want to get off the car because he was scared or traumatized from what happened at the other school.
Las grabaciones están en mi carro.
Then we have the recordings available.
Y ella ¿saben lo que me dijo en Jack London? Me dijo, usted tiene que enseñarse cómo disciplinar a su hijo. Es un niño que tiene una especialidad. Si ustedes miran su IP, mi hijo tiene speech delay y autismo.
And one of her comments was, you're as a parent, you got to learn how to discipline your kids.
So, para ella, yo no ser un buen padre es no haber jalado a mi hijo del carro y verlo metido a Jack London.
So she expected us to yank him out of the car and take him by force to get evaluated.
Aquí traigo,
Since we didn't do that, she kind of got bothered by that.
aquí traigo las notas donde dice ella esto.
We have the notes where everything that she said to us.
Yo ya estoy enfadada.
In writing.
Si yo no tuviera estas grabaciones, si yo no tuviera pruebas a mi favor, ustedes pensarían todos que estoy mintiendo. Y yo estoy dispuesta a enseñar mis pruebas.
We have proof of everything that we're saying, so if anybody would like to see him, dates and names and addresses, everything. So.
En mayo 8 tuve mi IEP. En mayo 7 yo recibí las evaluaciones de mi hijo Christopher Solís en inglés a las 4 de la tarde. En mayo 8 me dijeron a mí, señora, ¿tiene alguna pregunta? ¿Cómo hace una pregunta?
So we had an IEP meeting on May 8th. We didn't get any of the evaluations the night before, the evening before we got them, and they weren't translated into Spanish. They were in English, so we really didn't have no time to look them over, read them over. And then when we held our IEP meeting, they read it right through them really fast, and then at the end, do you have any questions? Like, we didn't even get to read them, read the whole complete IEP.
Yo les pregunté si esto lo hacen a todas las personas que tienen su segundo lenguaje de inglés. No supieron responderme.
So we asked, is this what you guys do to all the parents that English is not their first language? And they didn't know what to answer. They didn't say anything.
Yo ya estoy enfadada que estés pasando este bullying en special education.
Yeah, we're just tired of, certain people in the district just bullying.
En special education.
Second Spanish speaking.
Otra cosa, cuando yo pedí mi IEP, tengo 4 páginas en español. El resto es en inglés.
So when we get our IEPs sent home, they're supposed to send us 2 copies, English and Spanish, and there's
And then
4 pages of the IEP in Spanish, and the rest is all in English.
And we can do lastly 3 more minutes for Raul Solis's public comment, but that's it.
Ok. Solo los agarré para yo hablar, ¿está bien? Ok. La otra cosa es que la IEP de mi hijo se llama Alexander Solís. La traducieron y pusieron que él es Alejandro Solís. Yo jamás he llenado un papel al distrito de Enia donde mi hijo se llame Alejandro. Si yo hubiera querido poner Alejandro, yo le pongo Alejandro. No estoy esperando que el distrito venga a hacer eso.
So when they translate our other son's IEP, they translate his name, which is Alexander, and they translate it to Alejandro.
Esta es la segunda vez que me hacen esto.
I don't know if that's going to have something in the future, maybe.
Es otra persona.
Make him seem like he's a different person. I don't know if that's okay or not.
En la IEP que yo recibí de Alexander, está otro nombre de otro niño que no es Alexander también. Y tengo pruebas.
And then we always get other kids' IEPs, papers mixed up in our IEPs.
Y yo las tengo. Enia también mandó a la escuela donde va mi hijo a que lo evaluaran sin un, ¿cómo le llaman? Release information.
So they're also sending school personnel to my son's in a private school without a release of information. I guess we got to sign a release of.
Lo pedí, nadie me lo pudo dar.
We asked for that release. When did we sign a release of?
releasing information, ¿no?
List of information.
Que pueden dar
Or
información
they
con
couldn't
maestros.
find it 'cause we never signed
We
it.
never-
They didn't have it.
Exactamente. Yo ya estoy enfadada de esto. Yo tengo 2 niños especiales. Yo no puedo estar viniendo, estar peleando y estar diciendo cómo hacer su trabajo a special education.
We're just tired of, people not knowing what to do or not doing their job, not doing what they're supposed to,
Esto, y si ocupan las pruebas porque, total, soy un padre nomás, yo tengo las pruebas en video, grabada la señora cuando dijo eso.
We have proof of everything.
Eso no está bien.
We're saying we're not making-
Mis hijos son especiales. Yo no tengo por qué jalar a mi hijo. ¿Ustedes jalarían a sus hijos del carro?
Would you guys yank your kid out of the car if doesn't want to get out to get evaluations?
¿Más trauma? Tienen que ver en el special education. La señora riéndose y trabaja para ENIAC, Unified
It's
School
like we're
District.
just laughing about it, thinking it's funny or was a joke or I don't know what she was thinking.
Cuando ustedes les gusten, yo les enseño todas las pruebas de lo que estoy hablando yo ahorita.
If anybody wants to see any proof or any dates, any material, we have it all noted down.
Muchas gracias por escuchar.
Thank you. Gracias. Next, we have Leslie May.
I was coming here today to speak about that I've talked with someone at the federal government about getting them to start a federal investigation of ADA violations by the Antioch Unified School District. After that last meeting, and that other person spoke up, and they have their child here, now I'm listening to this, so I'm going to help them with the aid of a translator, because I do go to IEP meetings with a lot of parents, and I said, and that's a travesty. The people you have here, and I can say this from experience, that are supposed to be school psychologists, they're just here for the money. They don't care. They don't care about these black and brown kids. If you don't look like them, they don't care. If you don't speak like them, they don't care. And the sad thing about it, we have some black folks that are in this school district that don't care either, because it's a paycheck and it's a name on a little board and we can brag about it, bragging rights. This is a travesty. I also wanted to tell you that I've also been in contact and sent a letter and been communicating for federal oversight for this Antioch School District. This is appalling. I wished I had been invited by the public to come to these meetings way before now, because I would have been here. This is disgusting, and as I said before, this is despicable. Damn near everybody sitting up in here, except for 2 people, should be walking away from your jobs. You are despicable, and you will be investigated. Because if you know anything about me, I don't stop. I'm like that ever-ready buddy, or whatever they want to call him. I keep on until I get things accomplished, because that is going to be my legacy, not my name on a plate, not the little Facebook stuff and all the rest of this stuff. This has been going on in Antioch too long. It's been business as usual, business the same way. You ground your feet in. We're not gonna change. We don't care what the demographics look. We don't care. Yes, you are going to change. If that means the federal government comes in here, and they will be, they came in here on the police department, so what do you think they're gonna do about you guys? Okay? I would like to know how I can get the number of graduates, every graduate in this district from high school with IEPs, ones with ESLs. I also want the number of graduates without any supports in this school district. And I want the state scores for all the high school students, because all this lotting and everything is a crock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Beatriz Hernandez.
Good evening. I truly don't know what is worse,
The possibility that we have board members that are willing to lie about why we are in the place we are as a district, or having board members who are willfully ignorant about the issues affecting our staff and students. Either way, it doesn't look good to me. How disrespectful is it to the public not only to not defend them, but then try to gaslight them into believing that they never asked for help in the first place? People who have been paying attention know that you, Mayor Rocha, Gary Hack, and Clyde Lewis have been intentionally obstructing the process for years. Somehow you've misled yourself for years into believing that the board is meant to serve the district and in turn, the superintendent's need rather than the students. If you are unhappy with the way the district is currently being run, look at who this district is currently being directed by. We know how these 3 board members typically vote, and we also know which 2 board members are on the side of progress. If people want to change in our district, I encourage them to do the math for this fall's election. It's time to elect leaders who truly prioritize our students and their future. Thank you.
Next, we have Tachina Garrett.
Good evening, board. My name is Tashina Garrett. I am the chair for ACE Antioch. First of all, I'd like to say rest well, Mr. Mims. That was a great guy of standard. And I believe if he was here today, he would also say that this is a crock. I haven't been here before, but I've watched and I've spoken as a community leader with other community leaders, and you guys better get it together. Not here for that tonight, but I did want to bring up, we had a press conference and a rally today in regards to the Pittsburgh Antioch Amtrak train station that is currently, they're trying to close it. I don't know if you guys know that you guys have a lot of students that travel by that train. Either they have parental issues where they stay with dad sometimes and they stay with mom at other times. But you guys have a lot of students in this school district that need that train station. And I think it's imperative that you guys also make the students and the facilities, everybody, faculty aware that we're up against a major battle. And I know you guys, some of you guys may have friends in Oakley who want this train. But unfortunately, we're not giving up. And our students, like I said, need this transportation as well as the rest of the community. So in your spare time, look it up, see what's going on, and do something for your students and even yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, moving on to item 7B, individuals to address the board regarding items not the agenda from district employees. We have Ken Kent.
Hello, and thank you for seeing me. It's been a while since I've spoken to you. I just wanted to share something I've noticed over the past few years at my own school site. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Kimball Elementary, and we are in the throes of high-stakes state testing. Spend a lot of resources pushing through, spending a lot of time. And I've noticed the last several years that right before state testing rolls around, we have several students returning from rocket ship. It feels like they're being counseled out of rocket ship and back into their local schools. Quite often, these are students who've struggled behaviorally or academically. And I want to know, is this something that's being tracked? Do we know if this is a policy, even if an unwritten policy from rocket ship, to shed themselves of students who might reflect poorly on their state scores? So if it's not being tracked, please track it, and let's ask these questions of rocket ship. Did want to also mention that if you are interested in supporting the Antioch-Pittsburgh Amtrak station, Contra Costa Labor Council is gearing up for that fight as well, because pushing it out into Brentwood is going to impact the students and families of Antioch. All right. Thank you very much.
Great, so that concludes public comments. Moving on to 8 district reports. We have item A, district report on parent engagement and sports programs.
I would like to welcome up Assistant Director Katie Ingalls that is going to share this presentation.
Is that okay? Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Katie Ingalls. I'm the Assistant Director of Athletics and Community Engagement. Tonight, I'll be talking about our elementary sports programs. There's going to be a slide that comes up momentarily, maybe. Yes, there it is. Perfect. Thank you. The primary goal of our elementary sports program is to cultivate a sense of togetherness and create a welcoming space where students can enhance their confidence and improve their health through a diverse sports activities. Additionally, these camps lay the groundwork for a robust high school sports program, providing seamless progression and sustained interest in athletic endeavors. Research indicates that students involved in extracurricular activities, particularly sports, exhibit increased academic engagement. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean touchy. And overall success. According to the National Center for Educational Statistics, students who participate in sports are 15% more likely to attend college and 11% more likely to earn higher grades compared to their non-participating peers. These statistics underscore the importance of creating accessible sports programs that not only engage students physically, but also support their academic and personal development. This graph shows that the school participation by sport. We felt it was important to track this to make sure all schools were being represented. Now, it could be a little bit deceiving because some of our sports were for particular age groups based on developmental stages. So things like golf were geared towards the upper levels because of safety. They're swinging to implement, and that's not a standard for the younger grades. But things like soccer and flag football and basketball, we went kinder through 6th grade. When we held those camps, we did split them in half. We put the younger kids going first, focusing on fundamentals and really scaffolding the skills. And then the second half, we would have the older students, and during that time, we would usually do more modified gameplay and transition a little bit faster through the fundamental skills. Now, all of these camps, except for I think maybe 1, possibly 2, maxed out. That means that we filled every spot we had the capacity to fill. And that's great, except for that meant that a lot of kids got put on a wait list. For things like soccer, we had 300 kids, but we had a wait list of 150. It shows that there's a need there. But what we did is when a student wouldn't show up, I'd usually try to contact the family, or the family would contact me and let me know they can no longer attend. I would try to cycle through the wait list. Unfortunately, we couldn't always get through everybody, but we did our best to get as many kids in as possible. Some of our program highlights for the year: over 2,000 students participated in these programs this year. That's incredible. This program gave us the opportunity to build our high school coaching pathway. Some of our students were recognized tonight who are also our youth coaches, and they really are shining stars in our community. They acted as coaches for station work, and they developed their skills as coaches, but I also think that we have some teachers out there just watching them interact with the students, and a great mentorship was being built between our elementary students and our high school students, and it really was something special to watch. The camps offered the ability for us to strengthen our community connection with the parents who attended the camps. Partnerships with programs like First Tee and Lone Tree gave us the opportunity to offer golf lessons to over 150 students. Golf is a low-access sport. It's very expensive to get involved if you're doing it independently, so these partnerships make it possible for our students to get the chance to try a sport like golf. And then East Bay Regional Parks, we heard part of their partnership earlier today, but they really have been partnering with us on a lot of really great things. This summer, we're doing a swim and adventure camp. This will be the 2nd year. And that's through East Bay Regional Parks. They help staff that. And also, this doesn't have to do with elementary, but I feel like it's important to note, they also are lifeguards on the deck during our PE classes in high school. I was a high school PE teacher, and it's usually 1 teacher to 45 kids is the normal ratio, and having 45 kids in the water just isn't feasible for 1 adult. So having East Bay Regional Parks out there gives those teachers the ability to actually have swim lessons within the classroom with trained lifeguards on the deck. On to our next one. The students and families had the opportunity to participate in athletics free of charge. Talking to the local Pop Warner leagues, It costs anywhere between $300 and $500 to get your kid involved in Pop Warner. This gives students the chance to try something free of cost and give the parents an opportunity to see, does their student even like it before they invest that much money? And we have high-quality coaches. These were coached by our high school coaches and our student athletes. And these coaches are all trained in CIF regulations, so these were high-trained coaches giving these camps. And then we offered an inclusive environment where all students were welcome and encouraged to participate. And we made accommodations based on student and parent requests. Okay. Here's some of the parent feedback we received during one of our camps. So parent feedback has been very positive. In a survey conducted during the basketball program, parents ranked the camp a 4.87 out of 5. The following suggestions were made for future growth and improvement. Expand the program to include more students. Addition of an elementary league, because a lot of the times the camps were 4 weeks and they're like, we were just getting excited, and then the camp ended and they would like to see it continue. And then continue to add sports that are hard to access through youth programs and locally. Some of the highest requested programs on that survey were gymnastics, competitive cheer, and Little League. A couple things that we have on the horizon. So like I mentioned, we partner with the East Bay Regional Parks to provide the Swim and Adventure Camp. So these will be taking place this summer at Deer Valley and Antioch High. We have the capacity to have 200 students receiving these swim lessons and being involved in the adventure camp, but they're nearly full. So I think when I came this afternoon, there was about 3 spots left at Antioch High, and Deer Valley was completely filled up. And then we're also working to add a baseball and softball camp in the summer. And then one last thing that we discussed as a BVAL league yesterday, and we're moving forward with next year. It's technically not for elementary, but it hopefully will eventually trickle down, so I wanted to highlight it. We will be bringing back unified sports. So unified sports joins people with and without intellectual disabilities on the same team. It was inspired by a simple principle. Train together and play together is a quick pathway to friendship and understanding. And Antioch High and Deer Valley will have teams that compete in the BVAL Unified Sports League next year. And here I have a video, and Chris, do you know how I can make it play? Thank you. And this is just a highlight of the year, and it gives you just an overview of each camp. And please look at all the smiling faces, because that really is what makes it worth it. Okay, and then I wanted to move on to our parent part of our camps. It wouldn't be possible without our parents. Having our parents there makes our camps run smoothly, and also our athletic programs, K to 12. Sorry. Parent volunteers help make our programs run smoothly. Teams often have parents help with fundraising and team planning. Our parents offer valuable input and suggestions to help promote involvement and student success. Our parents support our students at practice and in games. Oftentimes, our elementary camps would have 50-plus families up in the stands, supporting their students, cheering them on, taking pictures. This setting gives parents the ability and guardians the ability to talk to school staff in a non-traditional way. Not everybody's comfortable walking into a classroom and having a conversation with a teacher. But a lot of people who aren't comfortable walking into a classroom are comfortable watching their student go out and play soccer. And it gives us the opportunity as school staff to use that to talk to the parents, get their input, listen to their feedback, and then take action based on what feedback they give us. And then other ways that we have parent engagement in the district, there's a little infographic here of all the different events and programs that are held at the school sites. I won't go through each one, but it gives you a breakdown of all the times that we would love to have parents on our campus and we'd love to see them. And that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Any comments from my colleagues? Do you want to start us off, Trustee Lewis?
So I've been to, several of the camps and, had a chance to talk to the parents that were out there and, see the benefits of all of them. Well, not all of them, but, quite a few of them. So good job. If there's support to expand I don't know if you're always an athlete once you're an athlete. Age probably will tell me I'm not, but, athletics, it gives a level of confidence. It teaches how to win. It teaches how to lose. It teaches how to play in teams. It teaches how to take direction. Some of those things that sports often don't get credit for, but particularly for those people who don't come from backgrounds where their family uses education as a tool to navigate life.
Yeah.
Many of those skills actually are learned through sports. So.
And with high trained coaches, we're able to use that time to really build a student athlete to their full potential, teaching them through mentorship. And that's what our ultimate goal is, because we want the student to have in success. That's the goal.
Absolutely. So kudos.
Thank you. It's been really fun. I've loved doing it, meeting the families and the community.
Vice President Rocha?
Since you have the parents there, how is it that we can at least educate them on some things that we're doing? Is that possible?
Absolutely, and I go to all the camps, so I make myself very visible. I mingle with the parents, I talk to them, I ask them how they're feeling. Do you like what you're seeing? Do you want to see something else? And we just open the lines of communication to make it a casual setting to have those conversations. I try to be at everything, and I try to make myself very visible, and I go through the crowds. I think that if we continue to do this and we keep this model going, that we'll be able to just make it a regular where they're comfortable coming up and talking to myself or another staff member. And when we have certain things going on, I did bring informational things and I'd hang it by my sign-up station. So I think it's a good way for parents to stay involved, because sometimes when you get a text message or you get an email, you don't always see it. But if you're walking by and someone's like, "Hey, don't forget," it's a good way to stay connected with the families and the parents. So
you can build on it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, all of our camps had wait lists that were large, and that breaks my heart because I want to see every kid out there. And the parents always laugh because if somebody showed up on the wait list, if I could squeeze them in, I would. I'd get them in there. I'd do my best. But it really is something that there's a great need in Antioch for youth sports. There's not a lot out there, and the parents have loved it. But I think there is a desire to give them something similar to what's out in the communities of like Brentwood and possibly, Oakley. They're looking for those same structured programs, and that's what we're going to continue to try to provide. And also doing it in a way that makes sure that we don't lose our focus, that we are serving the parents and the families and the students. And that's our goal. So making sure that that's our forefront.
Good, because that's something that's needed. I know our town has always been a sports town.
Yeah.
And families always come, just like you have entertainment in different schools, and they'll come because their children are performing. And it's that little piece, because in this case, when they're performing, it's only one night.
Yeah.
But in your case, you've got them there on a regular basis. So that's what I'm thinking, how we can build on that, because
It really builds community.
engagement is so necessary.
Yeah, and even like our runs, the amount of parents we had running with our students, it was really cute. The kids were talking them into it, like at the sign up, like sign up for the 5K, run it with me. But I think you saw in some of the pictures that a couple of the parents just jumped in and did it with us. So
Good. Okay, thank you.
thank you so much.
Trustee Lathan?
Thank you for your work. It's fun.
Trustee Heck?
Yeah, deja vu all over again. When I was younger, and I was an athletic and whatever, as a teacher in Antioch, schools had all sports programs and competitions along with the city of Antioch working together. And for whatever reason, X number of years ago, it just disappeared. It's great to see it coming back.
Yeah.
And I know kids benefit fantastically.
They do. They have so much fun.
Absolutely.
Great. And then I do have a few questions. How do students get into the program? Is it first come, first serve, or
So
lottery, or?
It's based off of, some of them are by grade. So like say our golf camp was for 3rd through 6th grade. What happens is the sign up is sent to every student 3rd through 6th grade to their contacts they enter in Aries through the Thrill Share program. It's messaged out to them and it is first come, first serve. And then the wait list is built on first come, first serve basis. And we also send flyers to the school sites for them to hang with the QR code to sign up. But I will say that most of the responses we get is from the text messages that go out because they have the QR. You just click and you sign up and go. That's probably where we get the most responses. But we're always looking for ways to improve communication. So we had a couple parents ask if we could do a couple things different, and we're going to accommodate that for next year for them.
What are the limiting factors to expanding the program? Is it cost, coaching, space?
Well, we kind of have a plan. Like I've been kind of dealing with the plan, and part of it, yes, is cost. It does cost more to expand the program. We have our elementary teachers are ready to get involved too. They've been helping with our camps and they're ready to roll out. So we kind of have a model that would involve all those teachers. So it's really just getting all the pieces to fall together. But the eventual goal is to have a more expanded program so we don't have to have a wait list. Or if we do, it's very minimal. But yeah, that's.
And I'm wondering if you have those current costs and what it would cost to kind of expand and fit the estimated need.
I do have an estimate, not with me right now, but I do have something worked up because I haven't got to know all of you very well, but my mind's always constantly going of like, how could we make this grow? How could we get better? What could we do? So I do have something that I've kind of worked on. It's pretty rough, but I can clean it up a little bit if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And then what can we learn about the students that participate in these programs? I guess I'm wondering things like, do we have students that participate in these programs that maybe we don't see them? They're chronically absent throughout the year. That maybe we have students that are where we see their families there, and then throughout the year it's a little bit more challenging. And this could be an opportunity to capture that. Any kind of things around like, do these students perform better academically? Do we see that this does reduce absenteeism and be able to tie it to some of those outcomes potentially?
That is something I eventually want to get to. I come from an athletic director's background, and I used to be a high school athletic director. I was at a site for 8 years, and I had all my students. I knew where they were at academically. We sat down, we met, we had goals, and we made sure that those goals aligned with what their end vision was. And a lot of that was we would track their success from when they started their season to when they ended their season to see how they grow and to see when they were their most successful. And that's something that I would love to do with these programs, especially with like chronic absenteeism. If we hold the camps on Thursday, are they always there on Thursday? That'd be great to know. And that's something that the plan I have, that my rough plan would have a way of doing that, because we'd be returning to sites, and that would give us a way to know that all the students from the site attend on this day. So we'd be able to know of those students who's attending school and kind of get the percentages that way.
Yeah, because we have so many students participating. You said 2,000 students. I don't know if staff has the number off the top of their head. I don't, of how many total elementary students we have, because I imagine that's a very large percentage of our total elementary students.
We have 15,000 total.
Yeah. That's about yeah.
Yeah.
A quarter, yeah.
And if we could, it'd be a lot of kids. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's get them all.
Yeah,
that's the
that'd be
attitude
great.
I have. Bring them all. Let's go.
And then the last question I have before I'll turn it back over to Trustee Lathan is right now, what does, the partnerships potential look like? Like, I guess I'm imagining, like, at the end of this program, do we have anything right now that we can say to students, like, hey, check out this league. Like, I know we're done and we're over, but, like, this league is going. Or if you want to do more, like, go this place. And do we have kind of more of a warm handoff for that versus just, like, we know of these programs?
So the hard thing is, within our community, there's not a whole lot of youth programs that are affordable. A lot of them cost a hefty amount, but the ones that are, we're like, take Lone Chief, for example. Kids who participated in the golf program, the last night they were told about Youth on the Course, which Youth on the Course is for kids who golf, and they can register for Youth on the Course. It's a one-time registration fee, and then anytime after that to play, there's some parameters, but it's $10 to play on thousands of courses, as long as they have a parent with them. $10 is a lot better than the usual standard rate for, around a golf. So we try to link with services like that. One other thing that we have is when we don't have programs here in town, and we say, okay, there's this program out at Brentwood, then we're sending our kids away from us. And so our goal is to keep them here. So we're trying to partner with as many local programs as we can. But there's not a whole lot out there. So we're just doing our best. With those ones, yes, we do. Like if families ask where's the next step, we have a next step. But the goal is to eventually build our program to where then we'll have feeder programs that feed off, because the love gets the kids to love the sport. And then a parent says, you know, I'm going to take this team, I'm going to make an AAU team. And then we'll say, we know so-and-so, you know, here locally does that. But that's the eventual goal.
Yeah. So I mean, I imagine or wonder if there's like, you know, mutually beneficial agreements there, because we, you know, I think of something like we used to have the Babe Ruth Little League that, you know, started hurting for getting players, and, you know, or even like you talked about, like the Lone Tree Golf Course, there's benefits to funneling and getting more people there. So maybe there's ways to offset some costs and some shared beneficial benefits there from mutual support of the two programs.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's kind of weird. That's one thing that Lone Tree is doing, because they know that kids it was like 70% more likely to take up golf if they go on a course 3 times. So we do a 4-session camp. Those kids are very likely to become lifelong golfers. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll turn it over to Trustee Lathan.
Thank you. This question is for you or Ms. Robbins. What funding do we use for this?
For the elementary?
For all the
most of the
programs?
elementary is the after-school program.
Okay.
And then we're using just general fund to offset the high school. But you've been doing mostly elementary, right?
Yeah, and then our middle school is ran through fundraisers. We do fundraisers, and then, yeah.
Yeah. But the ELOP program is included in that.
And in terms of like ACES, like I noticed we have a contract coming up for over $6 million with the Bay Area the after-school program. But I'm wondering if, for example, some of that funding could be actually used for our own staff, because it is an after-school program. Is that correct?
It does take place after school, but it's not consistently every day like the after-school program.
It wouldn't be able to replace the BACR, because that's something that we're required by the state, which we get the ELOP, but we have more money than the BRCA is costing us. So that's why we've been adding these programs.
Yes, that's
to
what
complement,
I mean.
not to replace.
Yes, right. Yeah, because they wouldn't have the capacity. And then plus it's sports only, and we need other type after-school programs. But I was hoping that some of that money could actually be used for our own staff to fund that. And then also, I don't know how scholarships work and things like that. So when kids do want to golf outside of that, could we use funding like that for scholarships? I have no clue.
We couldn't use the after-school money for scholarships.
Okay.
But I do partner with places like, so First Tee, if there's a student that shows a lot of promise and their family's very interested, but it's not within their grasp, they do have programs that I help partner the families with to get them clubs and to get them out on the course, yeah. So there's some community members that help fund some of those things. But.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Vice President Rocha.
Do you get, are the parents aware of the $150 that's given to students at the recreation department for activities that they have there?
I don't think so, but I would love more information about that, because I'd love to pass it on.
It's an ongoing thing. I don't think they've taken it away, but
Okay.
recreation has the applications. It's for low income, but it's $150 for each child in the family.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll look into that and start getting that information out, because I think that'd be very beneficial. Thank you.
Any other comments? Great. All right. Well, this was
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was so great. I think there's such a big opportunity here to tie into some of the other more academic district goals, as well as supporting, our kids having fun and doing really cool things that they enjoy or might not otherwise get the opportunity to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great. Moving on to item 9, hearings. We have none. Item 10, public presentations. We have none. And 11, consent items. Is there any items that we need to discuss or pull for a separate vote?
I have questions.
Yes, Trustee Lathan, you want to?
Anybody else have questions?
Yeah.
Okay. 11F and 11G around nutrition services, the agreements. I just wanted to say bravo to the Food Services Department. I'm glad to see that they're partnering with the city's Park and Rec Department and Contra Costa County to provide food for their summer programs, and that's in addition to the programs we already have. So it's good to see those partnerships. 11M, the service agreement with TBK Construction Management Corporation. The contract says, the service agreement says $20,000 monthly fee. And then it says flat fee of $20,000 per month, but it doesn't have the actual duration. Like, is it 5 months, 3 months? It could be, so that will impact our budget. So just wanted to know, and I could have missed it. I read it a couple times, but
I didn't per duration because it's, I don't have a duration. I don't know I don't know the duration of the HVAC projects. We're just starting them, and it's depending on the outcome of some of the maintenance and operations that's going on right now. It's to have them step in temporarily to help us manage the 3 projects.
so what are they doing? I'm sorry, I thought they were installing HVAC systems. That's not what they're doing?
No. They're helping manage the HVAC projects. It's construction management. It's not the actual construction of it. It's managing the construction projects. They just got through DSA and just to work with the architects. And we don't have internal staffing to do that currently.
So it feels like, it feels like there should be a cap on the amount of time, and then we revisit, because you're talking about the, because it just feels, for me, as someone who, is used to approving contracts, like, it feels like it could be a little irresponsible if we don't have a cap on it. So even if we said 2 months and then we come back and revisit, and then I would be interested to know, like, what all are they doing for $20,000 a month?
They're doing all the bid documents, and let me just read to you and hear what it. So they're going to be working on the gymnasium HVAC project at both Deer Valley and Antioch High School. So we just got it through DSA. So these have been
What's
project
the DSA?
Department of State Architect. So we've been working on these projects basically since I started here. And we just got them approved with the Department of State Architect. So we need to now do the pre-construction, the pre-bidding. So they'll do all the bid documents for it to go out to bid for do the lowest bid. They will see it through construction as long as we need them, and do all the project reporting and documents with the inspector of record.
Okay.
So it's a construction management firm that will oversee the projects, because we currently don't have anybody in-house to do this work. And in order for us to continue with the projects, otherwise the projects would just sit and wait. And we've already have our timeline established. And so we either don't do the projects, or we need to hire somebody to help oversee the projects.
So a substitute for Ken Turnage, that's what you're saying?
It's for the maintenance department, yeah.
Okay. When it's time to vote, I think I want to pull this one, because I'm not clear on some things, and it feels like, and I know you did the best you shared, but I'm not.
Tell me what other clarifications do you need?
Just, I feel like for me, I would need more information on, like, were we supposed to put out a bid? Is this a substitute person? Like, there's no clarity. Does it have anything to do with the bond? Is it like, where is this money like, what is this?
So this is money that's been in the budget for the HVACs.
Okay.
That we have had set aside. It actually came from ESSER originally, so we got it approved by ESSER. We were hoping to get the projects done by September, because ESSER expires in September. I don't know if that's going to be the case, so I need to work on that piece. But this is a temporary construction management firm or person that will come in and oversee for the next 2 months, or it might be 3 months. I don't know the duration, but so that the projects do not stall.
And where did we get this company from?
I was actually referred to it from one of our legal counsels.
Okay.
So when we go out for construction, because in the past, this district has had construction management when we've had a bond, that's not uncommon. But when we go out to do when we go out to hire a construction management firm for the bond, for the bond projects, for the big projects, that will be an RFP process. This was not done via the RFP process due to timing.
Okay. Thank you. 11R and 11T service agreement with the Bylund Clinic and service agreement with the Integrated Pediatric Therapy. So these are independent educational evaluations. The description says that when parents request an outside evaluation after they've had their evaluation with our district and the special education, and they're not in favor of the results, that they can request for an outside clinic. So my question is, at some point, and I'll talk about this later in the future agenda items as well, is do we have information about how often these outside evaluation outcomes are similar to or different from our outcomes? So for example, if we've done 20 a year evaluations because parents are saying, nope, I don't like that my child is not going to receive speech therapy, I want another evaluation by an outside, how likely is that outside vendor or service provider having the same outcomes as our district, and how often are they different? Because to me, that will give us a lot of information about the efficacy of our testing, and or are the outside evaluators wanting to please parents? You know, like there's something happening where parents are saying, we want another opinion, another evaluation. So can you, and it'll have to be the will of the board, but I can request it individually. But it would be nice to see what the differences are between what our people are saying in terms of outcomes and what the outside evaluators are saying. So I will also ask for that in the future agenda items. Do you have that at the top of your head? Okay. That's it for my 11s for the consent items.
Great. Any other comments or anything on consent? Did you want to pull item M to vote separately, Trustee Lathan?
I think it's okay. I just would prefer a cap on it because it just feels, it could go on forever, but at least having some interims where we're stopping to say, okay, it's been 3 months, where are we? Instead of just having this ongoing $20,000 a month.
Well, I think in the contract does give us the option to terminate that contract with a 30-day notice. So it's not like we're locked into an indefinite, contract. We're able to terminate if it's going on longer than is appropriate for us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great. So I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve all the consent items as presented.
I move to approve all consent items as presented.
Second?
Great. So it's been moved and properly seconded to approve all consent items A through U. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. And the motion passes. Moving on to 12 action items, we have item A, declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
Yes, thank you, Board President. This is the declaration of need for the State of California Commission on Teacher Credentialing for the 2024-2025 school year. This is a yearly event that when we conclude one school year, we look out into the next school year and identify those potential certificates, credentials that we may be seeking, again, permissions from the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing based on the need for fully qualified educators or the lack thereof. So we basically, again, have this estimation of the potential need that we have. We prepare and give this information to the state based under this approval so that they are kind of helping us go through that process every year. And so we look for your approval of this declaration.
Any questions? I just have one question. Is this total similar to previous years, more or less? Is it anything?
No, it's very similar to previous years, and what we've been doing, we've actually had more success as of late coming to more of our hiring folks coming with credentials, so that's a very positive sign. But we know that, again, it's a continuing issue across our state for the lack of individuals going into teacher credentialing programs. So again, more to be done on that, potentially building our own program, working with a university, so we have other things that we can start to address. But this is a standard expectation right now.
Got it. All right. Unless there's other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no, and the motion passes. Moving on to 12B, the 2025-2026 school calendar.
Yes, this calendar is really a product of a committee of working with the district, working with our associations, both our AEA friends and our CSEA friends, looking at applying the calendar for the 2025-26 calendar. We have already done work last year preparing next year's calendar, but we look a couple of years out. So this is the projected calendar, trying to meet all of the needs, again, of our families, our students, and our education staff to make sure that we have consideration for the items that will occur in 2025-26. So this is our best process that we bring to you for approval. It's been vetted by our administrative team as well.
Great. Any questions or discussions? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
So move.
Great. So there's been a motion to approve the 2025-2026 school calendar. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. So it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the 2025-2026 school calendar. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no, and the motion passes. Moving on to 13, items for information, discussion, and action by board. So item 13A is board-directed school district investigation. So this is an item that I have brought up. So I think on a wider district-wide level, there's been a number of employees that have come to me or that have shared their story about concerns with district culture surrounding things like bullying and retaliation, and don't feel like they have an avenue to share their concerns in confidence. And so I think an investigation into our district practices so that we can start to address those kinds of things and figure out where those gaps may be and where we should be putting our focus on to improve the culture for our employees and ultimately for our students, I think would be a good step for us to start rebuilding trust with the community. Questions, thoughts?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes, Trustee Lewis.
This board and the board-directed school district investigation would be led by the board?
Absolutely.
Or would it be a third party?
So we would be leading the selection of a third party.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
How would that work? You bring in somebody to talk to the employees, or what is the process?
Yeah, so we would select a firm to do this investigation, and then they would, create processes and structures where employees can come to the firm, share their story, their experiences, look into any other types of like metrics, data, other types of things that would be helpful for kind of identifying where is it in our school culture across the district. Can we start to kind of make some improvements and
Are we talking about certificated only?
no, across all of our employees.
What does classified, doesn't it go under personnel commission? A question. I mean, wouldn't the employees be tied to the personnel commission and not to us?
In terms of?
Of investigation, or whatever you want to call it, information. I mean, we do have a personnel commission that deals with classified. I'm just trying to say there's a separation. We handle certificated, but we don't handle.
Yeah, so that's a separate process that the personnel commission handles the hiring, and those regulatory processes, but that doesn't mean that they oversee every single aspect of those employees. So employees are still able to share their story with people and just talk and share information. It doesn't have to be funneled through the personnel commission if it's not going through any of those mandated processes.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand it. So this third party would come in place, and it would hold sessions, or if it would have like a counselor, somebody comes and you go and speak to somebody. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, I mean, so it really depends on the firm and the best pathway and the experts to make sure that we're doing this in the best way. But that is one potential way that would happen, and would be my guess of the likely pathway that would happen.
Would that duplicate what's already in place?
My understanding is that it would not. So this is district-wide. This is not about any particular incident, but it is about looking at a wider district culture.
I would like to have you share.
Yeah,
your thoughts.
Dr. Martinez?
Again, from our perspective, the district does have processes which we seek to engage with our employees and members of the public, students as well, and families for ways to accept concerns, complaints, issues of concern, whether it's with, again, any of our employees, any of our personnel. If there's complaints or concerns, again, as we've kind of talked about over the course of time here, we do follow board policy for investigating those concerns. Our Personnel Commission does stand to support us in the examination of potential employees, in the guidance for their employment, determining, again, a rank process for who becomes selected and who can be hired. There are procedures that are aligned for discipline that come from the Personnel Commission that are regulations that, again, align closely with our collective bargaining agreements for employees because there's due process involved in every situation for every employee. That's protections through education code, protections through their collective bargaining agreements, regulations through the Personnel Commission that we seek to follow. Again, in this situation, if in fact you're having someone else other than your current district administrative team looking to accept or understand those complaints so that we can apply board policy, I'm not sure how that would help us move forward administratively. Again, I can see that people have some concerns, and maybe, again, an outside agency people might be wanting to talk to, but an outside agency wouldn't necessarily work in accordance with your board policies. They may not follow due process. They may give you information as a board, if this is what the board's desire is, where you might start doing administrative work. And so I think there's some peril in there in sense of how you would formulate this. I'm not saying, again, it's not important to listen to people, but given all the regulations that we seek to follow that guide the practices that we do, I'm not sure how that helps us move forward.
Right. So I'll comment, then we'll go to Trustee Lewis, and then we'll go to.
It's not about, so I don't know if can we call it like maybe a 2-minute recess? I just gotta.
If that's the will of the board.
That I need to.
Go for it.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and recess for 5 minutes if that's okay with everyone. We'll return at 8:47.
I got the restroom anyway.
Call the meeting back to order at 8:48. Maya, can you reestablish the quorum?
Trustee Hack,
I'm here.
Trustee Lathan,
Here.
Trustee Lewis, Vice President Rocha,
Here.
President Hernandez.
Here. All right, we were on item 13A, Board-Directed School District Investigation. And I just wanted to clarify that this is not a disciplinary investigation. It's an information investigation so that we can get, because we do have processes in place, but if employees aren't going through those processes, then we'll never actually find out what's going on or what's preventing them from going through those processes. And that's the intention here, is what is keeping certain employees from maybe going through the normal process that we have in place, what's keeping them from maybe reporting on things that are going on that maybe should be getting reported on, and how can we rebuild that trust. So there's no intention to go through any of those administrative processes through this. It's for us to gain the information so we can see and ensure that can we make those processes more robust? Is there a place to make those more robust? And to what extent should we be trying to think about how we improve those processes? So there's no opportunity for peril there if we're not actually seeking to go through those processes or any of those disciplinary pieces.
I just wanted to kind of bring up the equity audits. When I first talked to the teacher union about equity audits, and just like any system, folks were a little tentative, right? But willing to say, you know what, we do want a better system. We do want to make sure teaching and learning is strong here. We do want to make sure that there's strong culture and climate. And so everybody kind of jumped on board with it. Even administrators, site administrators, district administrators. And lesson learned is we got a lot of good recommendation and information that we would not have known if we didn't have someone with another lens looking at what was happening in our schools. And so I say that because this could be a good opportunity for us to look at why, if we already have a process and folks are choosing not to go through it for whatever reason, or they are going through the process and feeling like they're still not getting heard or getting something done, it'll be a good opportunity for us to know what that information is so that we can course correct. And so I would hope that we would be open to say, you know what, let's go on and begin to think about what is our process, how is it working. It's hard when you're in a system to see what's happening all the time because you're embedded in it. And so I just want to challenge us to kind of think outside the box. I understand, Dr. Martinez, that you are, the associate soup of HR or chief of HR. And so from your perspective, it's working great, right? But when we get a lot of people who are coming to us saying it's not working great, we need to understand what that is. Or there may be people who say it is working great and this is what these other people can do to get different results, right? But we won't know that until we actually have a third party kind of look into it. So maybe the word investigation is scary, just like the word audit was scary for the equity audit, but it actually ended up not being scary and folks loved it. And now they're like, great, how do we come together and really move the work? So I want to kind of repeat what you said. This is not about punitive measures. This is not about coming in, changing our processes, rather looking at our processes to see how are they working for our employees and our families too.
Other questions?
What would the cost be on something like this?
It would depend on like a firm by firm. But I think the next step would be for us to move forward on this and then bring forward then firms and contracts for us to then kind of think about who do we want to select to then be the third party that leads this investigation.
So it would be bids of some sort? I guess I'm trying to get an agency. Is it CSBA? Is it different kinds of people? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to ask.
We would have to research.
Who's the ones that do this?
Yeah, so that's something that we can bring forward that I'm happy to bring forward. I think any board member should bring forward firms that they think would be good for this, and then we can have a discussion and kind of choose amongst those.
Well, if it's a matter of just bringing it forward and trying to understand it, I'll go for that. But I don't know if I'm ready to select anybody.
Yeah. We're not today. But what's before us is not the selection of that. That for sure, we'd always have full understanding of what that contract is that we'd be entering into. But today is the discussion of do we want to move forward with now us as board members bringing forward a selection of firms for us to choose from. and then we would choose.
If I could
Yes,
offer.
Dr. Martinez, yeah.
Some thoughts. Again, as you're kind of evolving this idea, and, Board Member Lathan mentioned, again, maybe it's not investigation. Maybe it is a review. Maybe it is a collective understanding. Maybe it is an acceptance of public information in a broader way, not necessarily complaints. Again, and that's where, again, please understand, it's not out of any disrespect, but it's out of trying to protect the district and our procedures, not necessarily indicating that there's not a good idea here.
Yeah.
But it's developing the idea so that if in fact you're understanding what you're trying to accomplish, what's your goal? What's the goal for anybody that would come in and say, here's what we can do for you? Because if you're looking for somebody to do an investigation, that creates a different goal. If you're looking for somebody to collect data from all employees, that's a different goal. It's a way of kind of addressing what are we really looking to do collecting that data, as we did with the NCUST. I mean, there was a specific audit in mind, and so we'd have to think through really what is your target of the work to be done by an outside group. Again, probably doing an RFP once you isolate that work, and you might have different firms come in and say, well, that's something that we can do for you in this way. And then they would give you the associated cost, so you'd have more information. I'd be cautious about just grabbing a couple of firms who might be doing different things without fully developing your idea. Put
Right.
the idea together and kind of work it. Of course, the board has to give the full direction to this is a good idea we want to move forward with in this way. So that would be helpful, I think. So at some point, it falls
Yeah.
to Maya if we're coordinating that for you, because you don't necessarily have the bandwidth independently to do that work outside of the arena as a board. So just, we want to help you if that's the will of the board to go forward with something like that, to make sure that we're using our resources appropriately.
Yeah, I think a few points to that. I think one, if the concern is the semantics of the word investigation, I'm happy to change that to whatever sounds best. I think I think the idea is fairly solidified there, and I think you articulated it very well, Dr. Martinez, that it's a review of our entire system, so talking to all of our employees, getting their feedback, getting those ideas, that's exactly what the point is. I was also communicating the impetus for the need is this unhappiness coming from employees. So that's why I was talking about in the context of complaints. It's not necessarily that we're setting up to hear complaints and circumvent an administrative process. It's to make sure that we're filling in these gaps and filling in this trust piece that's missing from the employees. And I think, while I appreciate the support in wanting to get this done, I think it misses the point of trying to rebuild the trust with the community in understanding that this is something that is coming from outside of a system that they already distrust. There is distrust within our HR system. I know that's hard to hear, but that's exactly why we need to address it. I think there's a lot of great processes, a lot of great things that happen there, but we do need to make sure that that's there. And I think this is an issue that is highly important to me, and I have the capacity to do this. I think to assume that the capacity isn't there when there's something so important to the community, I think is, again, missing the point here. So I do think we have the full scope of direction and capacity to do this. And I understand where your concern is coming from. But I think if we're going to build this trust with the community, that's where I'm coming from.
I should have a comment.
Trustee,
I'm
okay.
interested, excuse me, of all of this, I'm interested in the process. You talked about it. You said we have a process when folks file a complaint or they have a concern, right, that we go through, that they go through. I'm interested in how that process is working for people. And sometimes trust is broken down because of processes. So not necessarily people, but if they have to go through all of these different ways in which to get information to someone, or they have to go through different channels before they can actually get heard, that can break down trust too. So I think process is really important. And so I would love for that to be a part of it too, in terms of what do people actually have to do. If they're a teacher, do they have to go through the principal? Do they go to the AEA president? Do they go straight to HR? Like, I've heard people tell me, I've been asking lately as people come to me with things, what did you do when you had your complaint? No one has one way. Some people tell me, oh, I went to my principal. Some people say I go to the union. Some folks say I go to HR. Well, that's not a clear process, because if there's a clear process, everyone would know, like, these are the steps that you take when you have a concern. And so I would love to kind of have that process examined as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what would come from this is also ideas of where there's not clarity for employees, and also understanding how can we create that clarity.
And again, I come from a continuous improvement habit of mine, so this isn't about I gotcha. This is about, like, how do we strengthen what we have so that we can make sure that all voices are heard and that folks are getting what they need.
So do we have consensus to move forward with this? Do we need a more formal vote on this?
I don't know what the consensus of what we're going forward on right now.
So the next step in this process is that we will then, as a board, bring back firms for us to discuss doing this.
If that be the definition, I would be opposed to the board hiring outside firms to do district business. Because we do not have the expertise to know who we should hire, what we should pay them, and what our goals are at this moment in time.
Okay, then I think the cleanest way to do this is I'll go ahead and make a motion for the board to bring back firms in order to launch a review of our practices and culture regarding employees and processes. Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. Any discussion?
The motion would be to bring back not programs, but business programs or
firms.
Firms,
Yeah.
excuse me, thank you, Dr. Lathan. Firms that would deal with this kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm understanding that part, and then at that time, you make a decision if you want to go or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that I will go along with that.
Okay. Maya, can you do a roll call vote? Yeah.
Trustee Hack?
No.
Trustee Lathan?
Yes.
Vice President Rocha?
Yes, I just want to hear what it's show up.
President Hernandez?
Yes. Great. So the motion passes, and we will move on to 13B, comprehensive exit interview process.
All right, this is going to be the last. We've had equity audits. Now we're bringing forward information to look at kind of culture and climate. And lastly, I've been talking about, excuse me, I think it's the air, exit interview process. And I appreciate HR because they have actually started, as far to my knowledge, a survey so that when folks are when they've resigned or retired or transferring schools, they get to take a survey that has different questions about their experience in our district. So I think that's a really good start. Thank you for doing that. This last set of information we approved in the consent items for HR, and I don't know the name of the document, but when people resign or retire or move different sites, I think on this one we have like 9 resignations. And I believe it's certificated staff, teachers, and other certificated staff. So to get a better understanding, because again, culture and climate is important, the survey is good information, I believe. We haven't seen that information yet. I know the HR team will bring that at some point. But I would love, and I heard this come up, Dr. Martinez, in the Equity Audit Committee, that it might be helpful to have a third party to actually do the one-on-ones because of the time constraints for HR with all the other work that you all have to do. And so I would love to have an outside group come in to just do exit interviews with the folks who have left, even within this last year, just to hear their voices, to understand, so that if there's something, if there are patterns and trends that we need to know and understand, we can deal with that. I'm thinking about staff retention. So we're doing a recruiting. I see it posted on LinkedIn. I see it posted on Facebook. We're recruiting staff, classified staff, certificated staff, but we're also losing staff. And so it makes no sense to keep recruiting if we're losing people. So we need to understand what that reason is. And There are HR firms that actually do that to help us better understand and have one-on-ones with people about why they chose to leave so that we can take action and mitigate those things. Because it could be the district level, but it could be the site level. It could be anything. Like, what is that thing that folks are choosing to leave our district as one of the more higher paid districts in our county? So that is my ask, is that we deepen this. The district has already done the survey. They started that. And now we need some face-to-face time with people would be great. And I'm thinking of a short-term contract.
Questions?
I'm not disagreeing with necessarily the idea, but just the details of it.
Tell me more.
Just how you would structure it. What would be included in it? What would you do with it? Those types of things.
Yeah, so I think having kind of like the similar process that President Hernandez talked about, first bringing maybe some firms, HR people who can share with us what they would do. What I know from from past work is that folks come in, say it's a team of 3, I'm just making it up, HR people, usually they're former assistant soups like people in your position, and they interview people who have already resigned, so they contact them, folks who are currently resigning and retired people or people who are moving sites, and they have a list of questions they ask, and they would probably be similar to, but there's some differences, the questions we have on our survey. Surveys are pretty limited in terms of what people can say, and so it would be great to have just a one-on-one, especially when it's an outside person that actually could be helpful for them to say, I left because A, B, and C. I don't know what the reason is. And so I think that would be a good opportunity for us to learn. And what would be done with that information is it would be shared with us. So because let me backtrack. We've been having our equity audit committee meetings, and part of the recommendations we're bringing back to the board for goals is around culture and climate. So that could help our district level people understand, and possibly principals, it depends on what information comes back in terms of how people are feeling, why they are choosing to leave, why they are choosing, some people told me they're retiring early, why they are choosing to retire early instead of staying in our system, what's happening. And so it is more high-level information so that we can make decisions and support the district. And so there's some transparency and they understand and can make decisions as we think about, creating a strong culture and climate and a sense of belonging in our district. So it's not anything that we would say, hey, here, general public, if we all feel like some things need to be shared publicly, we would need to come to consensus and say we do. For example, our high-level equity audit that we got, we're not going to share the schools, but we'll share the high-level one because it's just kind of a bigger picture of what the patterns and trends are. So that's something that the public can digest. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Dr. Martinez, I'm wondering if you can share the work that's been done so far in regards, to the survey. I'm trying to figure out what have we done, what are we doing, and then making sure I understand the part that Trustee Lathan is suggesting.
Thank you. So what we've been doing with the exit surveys is that we actually started with the first go-round when we developed the initial survey. We started sending that out to individuals who were leaving the district, and we've started to get some responses. We then modified the survey, asked board for feedback and guidance on that if there were other areas, and we did receive some feedback, and so we modified the survey, and we have again started sending that out based under everybody who's leaving. Now, for individuals who are leaving, sometimes we're starting to get some responses back. Sometimes people wait. Sometimes they choose not to. We're sending it to both their current email and their personal email if we happen to have that on site. We have been, again, starting to get some responses back, which is positive. The responses are, again, focused on getting general perceptions about their overall feelings for the district with regards to salary, benefits, culture, where they believe they were recognized, not recognized, were their skills used. There's a whole collective, over 40 questions. The idea behind that initial information, as Dr. Lathan said, would be to give a broad scope. We have classified and certificated, and so they are identifying themselves. That helps us, not by the sense of our need to know, but it helps us in understanding the data. So we do anticipate bringing data to the board at a later meeting. Again, we're just getting those responses, and that'll be collected probably through June. We'll give some people some time, so maybe in July we'll have the first collective brush of data that will give us, again, a sense. As with many surveys, again, it's hard to make clear determinations, as Dr. Lathan said. You can't just really make a direct correlation between a handful of surveys and what happened. But it does help to guide the thinking process, help to guide where might we have areas of concern that help us to address those areas. Do we have people feeling that they weren't respected in their sites or something to that nature? So that helps us in helping develop our leaders, our supervisors, our team to see if there are specific things. As I'm understanding the process now that maybe you're looking to do, let me add this. We have also indicated within that the request if somebody has to have a personal meeting. Again, some people are happy to come in. It's up to them. We don't force people to do that. So it really would be up to them to say, I'd like to talk to you. And a lot of people who are leaving for the sense of, I've had a great career, I'm retiring, they're happy to come in and share really what their feelings are, good or bad. And so we would have designed our own process. When we think about that, again, right now, if I've only got 10 responses, but I have maybe 80 surveys going out right now, having meetings with 80 people could be a daunting task with all the other components that we're doing in both our human resources departments. So again, this idea about how many people would actually want to participate, maybe you'd get more participations if it's an outside group. There are, again, if this is the board's desire, we could seek those outside groups. Again, part of our work would be to connect with them, figure out, as Dr. Lathan said, maybe a short-term contract and maybe not an expansive, we'll be here for 3 months, but on these 4 days, we'd like to get as many people in. So we'd target that work and try and get that done in a timely fashion if we were to go forward. Again, it's just something that for capacity's sake, it'd be very difficult for our own group to kind of designate those types of days during, again, all the work that continues in the summer preparing for the next school year, quite frankly. But if that's something the board wants us to, again, pursue, we can do that. Or, if the board wanted to pursue it on their own, you can do that. So it's just a matter of, again, the guidance that you want to give to us. And if that's the goal and kind of the direction of the board, we can put something together like that.
I would say both. Of course, I'm connected to AXA because I'm an educator. So there are also, I have some resources where I can tap into to share with you all. I don't know if we need an RFQ, I don't feel like we need that. But what are you all thinking? Because I don't want to go with the lowest bidder. I want to go with the best qualified folks to do it.
Yeah, when you do an RFP, you don't have to go with the lowest bidder when you're doing it for a service. You write in what your expectations are, and then you can do like the best fit. That's something definitely for the services. When you're doing construction, it's a whole nother world. But so I don't necessarily think you have to do an RFP. I think you would probably have to come up with the scope of what you want to do, and then see. I mean, I don't know how you would initiate it unless you know people that do this type of work. It's not something that's, I think, not that I know of. I don't know if they're well known.
Yes.
But if AXA is a resource, I mean, we could start there. I don't know if they provide the service or they have people that they provide resources that.
Yeah, because a lot of times it'll be like retired HR people, but there are firms who do it too, and I know.
So you don't have to do an RFP in this.
Okay.
And so it depends on how many people you would like to respond so that you can do the one that fits best for the district.
Okay.
A question. If you did a few, I mean, how much, I mean, if you just did it for a short time, that would kind of give you an idea in general? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, yeah.
So like you said, 3 months, and then you interview all these people, and then that's it. That'll give you an idea.
Yes. Yeah, that would be my idea. I don't think it needs to be anything long, but a set schedule of a few days or, over the course of a couple of weeks, this is how many times the interviewers will be there. And then, provide their final information to the HR department and to whatever board members are interested in understanding why folks have.
So I think it would be
decided to-
important to determine, as part of the scope, how far back we want to go. Do they want to contact employees that have left the district? And how far forward, right? Because employment is an ongoing thing. It's fluid. It's not static. So if you're looking to get information ongoing, then obviously it would be a contract that wouldn't be temporary. It would be ongoing, and you would have specific dates because you see the HR documents on the board every month. So we're constantly hiring and people are constantly leaving. So it's just a thought that you have to think about when you're doing the scope, how far back, because then that's going to determine the cost, I would think, the time
Yeah.
and the number of employees.
Yeah, so how would you all feel if I just drafted something? I can go back and forth with someone from your team, because now you have dual roles, and then bring it back to the next board meeting.
Sounds good to me.
What does that
That would
sound
be
like for
fine.
you all?
So we're doing classified and certificated.
Yes,
And what I see a lot really is the special ed.
yes.
It's usually what's coming through all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That would be of interest to me.
So it looks like we have consensus on that. Great. Moving on to 14 resolutions for first reading. We have none. 15 resolutions for immediate action. We have none. 16 resolutions for second reading and action. We have 16A resolution, declaration of need to request emergency short-term staff permits through the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing for the 2024-2025 school year. I'll turn it to
And you
Dr.
basically
Martinez.
have provided the information again. It's me giving you this, that this again provides us the ability to request these emergency short-term staff permits from this California Commission on Teacher Credentialing for next year. So it's another one of those documents that they want to make sure the board is understanding that we may need to do this well ahead of next year.
Great. So unless there's any questions, I will entertain a motion to approve item 16A.
So moved.
Second.
Great, so it's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2023-2446. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no, and the motion passes. Moving on to 16B, resolution 2024-2547, declaration of need to request emergency cross-cultural language and academic development authorizations to the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing for teachers teaching students who are English language learners for the 2024-2025 school year.
And yes, again, thank you, Board President. This is simply a standard resolution that we need. We know we'll have individuals who will not be fully CLAD certified in their employment with us, but we will seek permission to have them emergency certified and then work with them to obtain these important skills as part of their credential.
Great. Unless there's any questions, I will entertain a motion.
Approval.
So it's been properly moved and seconded to approve item 16B, resolution number 2024-2547. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no, and the motion passes. Moving on to 17, board policies for first reading. We have item A, new board policy 4119.24, 4219.24, 4319.24, maintaining appropriate adult-student interactions.
Yes, thank you. This draft was brought to us by the attention of Dr. Lathan. Again, many school districts do have this as a standard board policy among their board policies. And so as we looked at this, again, meeting the CSBA sample and reviewing it, this provides, again, more specific guidance for all of our adults, be they employees, volunteers, working in any capacity, working with our students, about some of the limitations, some of the guidelines, some of the structures of those relationships. And while we often think that the common way of interacting with students is well known, it's good to have something like this that we can specifically call out to individuals so that we have a way to guide their work in all the capacities seeking to keep our students safe. So we think this is a good board policy for us. Again, it does align. It's an optional board policy, but many districts have this. And again, it's a welcome addition to our process.
Great. Is there any questions on this? This is first reading, so it will come back to us, but questions are always welcome. Great. Moving on to 18 board policies for first reading and immediate action. We have item A, revised board policy 6174, education for English learners.
Hi, Board. And so this one is being brought to you for immediate action. It is essentially changing the language which allows access for students to have, to access programs that have been impacted by teacher shortages. So like for dual immersion, for instance, if we're having a difficult time getting a teacher with the proper credential to teach dual immersion, that they could transfer to another school or even outside the district to be able to receive that program. And so it's here for immediate action because we hadn't updated it and it was called out in our federal program monitoring. And so we would like to get that approved so we can get that item resolved.
So just to clarify, if a student is in a dual immersion program and the following year, there's no more space for the next grade level, then they can request to go to another district. Is that part of this?
Well, so there would be space.
Okay.
It's the issue becomes, for us at least, the issues around getting qualified teachers that have that BCLAD credential.
Okay.
And so that, we've had that at one point. We had like a long-term sub because we weren't able to hire. And so in that instance, that a parent could choose to go to another school that has the program running at that particular grade level, or even go to another district.
If that's
that's what they choose.
And if we have space, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Barrow, but they could do that. I mean, we did have that situation. That parent could have taken that child to Fremont, right?
They could have. Internally, it's not as big of a deal. I think this was also written for if you wanted to go to another district.
Okay.
But the district has to then approve, because that's an inter-district transfer.
It's a requirement. It's a law across.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this isn't just for Antioch Unified. This is a
So if we don't
change in
have,
bill.
if we don't have the staffing, then our student can say, we want to go to X district, and that district has to accept them.
I believe so.
And the same for us.
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So we are asking that you approve this.
Action, don't you?
Great. Yes. Yeah. So unless there's no other questions, I will entertain a
I
motion
move
to approve.
approval of policy 6174.
I'll second.
Great. So it's been probably moved and seconded to approve adopt board policy 6174, education for English learners. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. And the motion passes. Moving on to 19 board policies for second reading and action. We have revised board policy 5141.31 on immunization. So this is the second time we're seeing it.
I don't know if you need me to present it again, but essentially this was the Senate bill that it expanded exemptions for immunizations.
So unless there's any questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the board policy.
So move.
Great. It's been moved to approve the board policy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. So it's been properly moved and seconded to adopt board policy 5141.31 on immunizations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. And the motion passes. Moving on to 20 information items for general information. We have two items. A, Administrative Rule 5141.31 on immunizations, and B, Administrative Rule 6174, education for English learners. Is there anything else to kind of add on those?
No, they're just the associated administrative rules for those.
Great. If there's no questions on those, we'll move on to 21, future agenda items from board members. And we'll start with Trustee Hack.
Nothing.
Trustee Lathan?
The independent educational evaluations, my request is to have some kind of just information for the board, or for me at least, to compare and contrast the results of independent evaluators and our in-house assessments. So we have a special ed team, right? A team of folks. So, yeah, they can provide that information. That would be good. And
Vice-
maybe the August meeting, because I'd imagine they need time, but I don't know.
I think it would be whatever is the will of the board. I don't know if you want a Friday board letter or future presentation, but that's up to all of you.
I think Friday update would be good for me, but I don't know if you all want to.
Yeah,
in a
Friday
different
board
way.
update sounds fine. Vice President Rocha?
I'm going to read a statement, and in that statement, there's something that goes onto the agenda. So if you'd like, I'll start it right now. Okay. Over the course of the last month, the president of the Antioch Unified School District Governing Board, Antonio Hernandez, has taken it upon himself to engage in practices that are, in my opinion, unbecoming of a board president and in direct conflict of board policies and board bylaws. During this time, Board President Hernandez divulged confidential, privileged information regarding personnel matters with members of the media, spoke out of turn in public about private personnel matters in potential violation of board policies regarding individual employees, including the superintendent. Publicly attacked the superintendent, calling for resignation and accusing her of wrongdoing outside all due process proceedings and without proper evaluation. Held an ill-conceived public meeting following the lack of a quorum for the special meeting he attempted to hold on April 25th, 2024, when he was advised that he would not be able to initiate a meeting. These and other actions have placed the district in legal jeopardy and subjects to significant claims, litigation, and exposure for damages, especially as he was acting as president of the board without any authority to do so. Nor did a majority of the board provide any authorization for the board president to speak to the media or on his personal social media on the board's behalf, to violate confidentiality, to speak on personal matters, or to personally attack any employees of the district. Board President Hernandez's behavior is disrespectful and flies in the face of our board policies, disregards due process, rights of employees, contractual obligations to the superintendent, and jeopardizes the community's trust in our Constitution as a school board, especially during the tenuous times as we will be going through a process to obtain positive board rating, which could lead to a significant increase in cost to citizens of this community should we be identified as a district in chaos. A school board should function as the policy keepers of the organization and as a governance team that provides an umbrella protection for the district, not as a negative force that seeks to create havoc or mistrust and engages in ill-conceived attempts to do administrative work. That work is beyond our skill and training level. Board President Hernandez's efforts appear to seek to undermine the administrative structure that exists to protect employees, seeks to disrupt the work of the board's one employee, the superintendent, and seeks to use the concerns of a few for his personal political attacks. Given the clear violation of the board policies and protocols, I am calling for a censure resolution to be included in next month's governing board meeting and to add a discussion item to consider the potential removal of Board President Hernandez from a position as president. Our school community and the employees of the district and the superintendent and senior management team can only effectively function when we as board members, including the president, are able to follow the same board policies that we seek to govern. So at this point, I'd like to have that put in the next agenda. Thank you.
Got it. And I know Trustee Lewis is not going to be at our next meeting. Do you still want that on the next agenda or the meeting after?
At this point, it would have to be when he's in place.
So not at the next meeting, the meeting
No,
after?
when he's after.
Got it. Okay. So I will add those two items to the June 26th meeting. Great. And then I have no items to add there. Item 22, additional comments which exceeded the first 30-minute session limit. We have none. 23, reports and comments from board members. We will start with Vice President Rocha.
Okay, at this point, coming back from the delegate assembly, the main thing that everybody's pushing for is the Prop 98. It seems the governor is trying to take our money away, and the way I understand it is that the money that was given to us, because we are on the Constitution for education, that the money that was given to us last year should be given to us this year, if not more. But he's saying he gave us too much, so now he wants to take it back, even though we've already spent it. So that's the issue we're having with Prop 98. They're asking all districts to do a resolution to send to him, and also, if possible, meet with your assemblymen and senators. At this point, I will make that connection with the two assembly and a senator and see if we can at least get into their office and talk a few minutes. I would need some information on the Prop 90, how it affects us. That's my statement.
Trustee Lathan.
We've been working with the National Center for Urban School Transformation. About less than a year ago, the board approved for them to do equity audits for each of our schools. And they've done the equity audits. Now as of today, INCUS has met with 19 schools in their teams for them to unpack their audits and the recommendations. And from what I learned during today's committee meeting, the board equity committee meeting, board committee meeting, sorry, that those were going well, really well. That staff were receptive and they are willing to move forward with selected recommendations so that we can move toward being a high-performing school district for all of our students. So bravo to the staff for being so open. And then today was the last equity audit board committee meeting, and it was great. Again, we had 3 or 4 meetings, and today the committee came up with some tentative goals, and I'm going to kind of massage them out and then work with the staff. I know Ms. Ibarra just kind of shared like her thoughts, and then also Trustee President Hernandez. And I'm super excited because the board goals have a potential of being really strongly aligned with research, what's actually happening in our schools, and our LCAP. And so I'm just really proud of the team of teachers, classified staff, parents, community members. We had a representative from Los Medanos College participate. And so just really proud of them for just really showing up and engaging in this process. So shout out to the Equity Audit Committee. I'll say their names at some point, but also the agendas are online on our website.
Trustee Hack?
2 things. I watched a video or whatever of a ceremony at Dallas Ranch just the other day where the principal and the students reflected and gave reactions or feelings to one of their teachers who had just passed away a few months ago. A gentleman named Joey Del Chiaro, fairly young. He's in his 30s, I think, still. He's my wife's cousin. He is a music teacher, went to Sacramento State. I've known him. He did not want to be a music teacher. He did not want to be a teacher. And then he got into a classroom and fell in love with it. And so they did a very nice presentation in honor of his career. So I just mentioned that because we have a lot of good teachers out there and do a lot of good things. And music teachers don't get the credit they need at times. Second thing is, we're on about starting graduations tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. It's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Start with
9.
9?
9 o'clock.
Okay, I wrote down 10. Anyway, CBI. Very nice, yeah. It starts the next couple of weeks.
Great. And then I just want to uplift the equity committee's work. I think it's incredibly inspiring to see what we can do when we do empower the great talent, the great teachers, the great classified staff that we have within the school district, and that when you create the conditions for empowerment, for success, the people that benefit, the most important people that benefit are our students. And we can't let the structures and systems that have traditionally given us the results that we've seen over and over again continue to guide this school district. And I won't sit here and take being funneled into the same systems that give us our same results over and over again. And I think it's so fitting, the book that I brought today, called Something Someday, written by Amanda Gorman and Christian Robinson. Amanda Gorman was the poet laureate that spoke at the president's inauguration. And it points at, it's such a beautiful story about how people say that you can't do things, that you shouldn't put for change, that you should fit within this system, fit within the way that things going, and that people will look down and tell you that you can't do this. But as you push forward, and as long as you have the values and you're looking after doing what's right for people, doing what's right for employees and for students, that you can accomplish so much. And it's such a shame today to hear that Mr. Mims passed. Mr. Mims was a great man. One of the first examples I saw that you can speak out against a system. So often, Mr. Mims came to board meetings across Contra Costa County and was the only one speaking out on the things that were going wrong. And people would tell him that he shouldn't be doing that he's not supporting staff, that he's not following the processes. But truly, change has only ever happened through challenging these processes. Never have we improved or created transformational culture by following within the lines. So the system, the school district, people, anyone can tell me what I should or shouldn't do. But the only thing I know truthfully in my heart is that the way to reach unity is by doing what I know is right for our employees and our students. And people often see dissent as causing division, but truly dissent is how we build a better system. It's how we come to unity, because anything less than that is disingenuous, is a farce, and a disservice for our community. It is through conflict that we grow, that we can become better. And I hope that this board, that this school district, and the people of this community realize that that's how we move forward, and that all of this is in service of doing better for the community here. It's personal to me. I was here from kindergarten through high school. I've seen friends, I've seen teachers, people navigate through this school district, and I see their faces, I see their spirit, I see the echoes of who they are in the staff and students that we have today. So there will be nothing that will ever stop me from saying what is right and for doing what is best for our employees, for our students, and our community. Thank you. We'll move on to 25 adjournment, and I'll move to adjourn in honor of Mr. Mims and all the great work that he has done throughout his lifetime. Is there a second?
A second.
Great. So it's properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all against say no. And we adjourn the meeting.